Welcome back to another episode of War in Cali. In this episode, I will detail a deadly story involving the Eastside Longos. On November 20th, 2006, a 14-year-old named Giovanni was living with his cousins Michael and Norman, who was 16 and 18 years old. After school that day, Giovanni met his cousins at a friend house. They left in the nighttime and decided to walk home. They walked down Anaheim Street and began to turn on Gundry Avenue. There were 3 Mexicans across the street, along with 2 Mexican females. Giovanni heard the dudes call out multiple times, Eastside Longos, and multiple disses to black people, and the disses to 2 black gangs in Long Beach called the Insane Crips and the Rolling 20 Crips. Long Beach has a lot of gangs in the city. On the black side, they're all known to be Crip gangs, along with Polys and Asians also having their own Crip gangs. The Longos have beef for all of them. The Longos' beef with rival Crip gangs became more than just about gang beef. It led to a lot of racial tension and deadly incidents on both sides, leading to many gang members' deaths as well as many innocent people. Giovanni and his cousins continued to walk, but they could not continue down Anaheim because their path was blocked by construction site gates, so they decided to turn left onto Gundry. As they did so did the Mexican man. They ran across the street towards them and started yelling out gang names and disses to black people. They also continued by yelling Eastside Longos. It was around 5 males in all by this time. The Mexican man asked, "Where y'all from?" which Giovanni and his cousins didn't respond. The Mexican man surrounded them as they tried to back away. One of the males approached him and started throwing up again. He also reached for something from his back. Norman pushed Giovanni and Michael back and faced the Longo members who surrounded him. One of the Longos ran up to Norman and socked him in the head. Norman tried to escape, but he slipped and fell. While Norman was on the ground, the Longos repeatedly kicked and punched Norman all over his body. Norman curled up and tried to fend off the blows. Giovanni was too afraid to help his cousin. Another one of the Longos approached him, and Giovanni and Michael said they did not bang. They were left alone. Giovanni heard Norman say, "Please don't stab me." There were 4 Longos around Norman at the time. Giovanni didn't see any of the attackers holding a weapon. He saw one of them making stab motions at the time when Norman was crying out. Norman did not fight back. He was not armed. The Longos then ran away when Giovanni yelled and ran towards them. He saw Norman was bleeding from his mouth, so he ran to the park where a dance was going on and asked for help. Paramedics and police arrived approximately 15 minutes later. Norman had suffered 8 stab wounds, including a fatal stab wound to the left side of his chest that penetrated his lung. Later at trial, Giovanni identified Benjamin and a man named Gerson as the attackers from a photograph lineup. Giovanni also identified Benjamin as the man who stumped on Norman and punched him in the ribs. He also later identified a man named Spencer. A woman named Solita lived on Hoffman Avenue, a block away from Gundry. That night she was walking home from work along Gundry, and at the intersection of Gundry and Anaheim, she saw 4 or 5 Mexican men, along with 2 females across the street. She had previously seen the group in her neighborhood, which was in her apartment complex. She also had seen the 2 females holding hands with 2 of the Longo members. As Solita walked home, she saw some black males being Giovanni and his cousins walking down Anaheim. The Longos called out their gang and told the black kids they were not supposed to be there. It was their turf. They repeatedly demanded to know what block the kids were from and what neighborhood they rep. Solita stated that the Longos continued to beat Norman, and afterwards, they ran towards Hoffman Avenue. Solita walked past the Longos during the course of the attack. At no time during the incident did the boys say anything hostile to the Longos. Solita went home, but was too frightened to call the police. The Longos had seen her, and they knew where she lived. She feared that her and her family would be in danger, she told. When the police contacted her at work, she identified Benjamin by name and identified 4 other Longo members through photos. After the incident, Solita saw Benjamin's sister on the bus. She mumbled something to her in a threatening manner and said that she would get Solita. A woman named Eva was the girlfriend of Benjamin at the time of the incident. Benjamin told her he was a member of NKS, a tagger crew, but he later got put on Eastside Longos. His friend Spencer also told her he was a member of the Eastside Longos. Eva later stated that she was afraid to tell because of the consequences, which included the safety of her family. She was also acquainted with 3 other Longo members for some months. She knew one of the Longo members named Gerson and also his girlfriend Nancy. They both lived together. Eva saw the whole stabbing incident. That morning, her, Nancy, and another female visited Spencer. Towards the end of the day, a man named Gilbert and her boyfriend Benjamin joined him. It was dark outside when they all left together to go to a nearby park. They all walked back on Gundry. A young man named Marcos joined them. 3 black boys were walking across the street from them. She heard them say something. At some point, she said she heard someone yell twice, "This is insane Crip." She looked over and saw African American males wearing a red hat with the letters Big Baby on it. Benjamin, Gilbert, Spencer, and Marcos all ran across the street to confront the boys. She said she heard one of them cuss at the boys, and she also heard one of them say, "Eastside Longos." Benjamin, Gilbert, and Spencer started fighting the boys. Eva said she did not see any use of a weapon. Marcos did not take part in the fight. He was standing with Giovanni and Norman, who were both now fighting. Benjamin, Gilbert, and Spencer ran back across the street, leaving the victim on the ground before running back to an apartment complex. A few weeks after the incident, Benjamin told Eva that the victim had died, and whichever one of them was first arrested would take the blame. Benjamin called her from a jail phone after his arrest. In the conversation, he told her to say that she was with him at his house at the time of the incident, and to arrange an alibi with his sister Andrea. Several of the Longo members were later arrested for this crime. In February 2007, a woman named Quanah received a letter in the mail. The envelope indicated it was sent by Gerson and addressed to Nancy off Hoffman Avenue. Quanah opened the envelope without looking at the address, thinking it was addressed to her, but it went to the wrong mailbox. Spanish interpreters translated portions of the letter, which Gerson referred to Nancy as a bitch and a whore. He was angry with her because she had disobeyed his request to stay away from every Longo member. He advised her not to leave her house because if the police got her, it was all on her. Detectives testified that Nancy and Gerson lived in an apartment off Hoffman, close to each other, and also the murder scene. Detectives interviewed Spencer on the day of his arrest. After advising Spencer of his Miranda rights, Spencer waived those rights and agreed to speak to detectives. Initially, Spencer denied any knowledge of Norman's stabbing. In his statements, Spencer admitted to stabbing the victim, but explained he did it in self-defense. He said one of the black males first approached him and yelled out a gang. Spencer said he was from Longos. Then he said the black male group made threats. The main guy apparently he said was Norman. He said Norman ran at him and knocked him to the ground. Spencer said the others began to run at him. At that moment, Spencer fell. He said he found a screwdriver lying on the ground, which he used repeatedly to stab his victim. After listening to a hypothetical set of facts consistent with the prosecution case, detectives said that Norman's stabbing would have been committed to benefit the Eastside Longos. The Eastside Longos had problems with black gangs for a while, and also just black people in general. The Eastside Longos often committed violent crimes, and their reputation with the gang enhanced by doing so. Gerson called his mother Maria, who testified that her 2 sons lived with her in an apartment off Hoffman Avenue at the time of the incident. Martha was the building manager. Maria arrived at the apartment from work around 4:30 p.m. that day and fell asleep till approximately 8:30 p.m. At that time, Martha unlocked the apartment door for Gerson and his girlfriend Nancy. It was later stated that neither Gerson or Nancy left that apartment that night. On cross-examination, Maria testified she awoke to see Gerson and Nancy. After that, Maria went to Spencer's bedroom and fell asleep till around 11:30 p.m. Maria would not have known if they left the apartment or not. Martha testified she was on duty in the evening around the same time of the incident. Gerson and Nancy asked for a key to get to the apartment because his mom did not answer the door. Martha gave Gerson the key and saw him and Nancy go upstairs. It was approximately around 6:30 p.m. around that time. She could see multiple people enter their apartment. Approximately around 8:30 p.m., Gerson returned the key to Martha. She went to sleep around 9:30 or 10 p.m. Gerson testified on the day of the stabbing incident. Nancy stopped by to see him, and he told her they were going to a party that night. However, their ride did not show up, so they went back to Gerson's apartment. It was approximately around 8 p.m. He knocked on the door, but there was no answer. He did not have the apartment key, so he got a key from Martha. He opened the door for himself and Nancy, and found his mother asleep. Within approximately 30 minutes, he went downstairs and returned the key to Martha. He said he went back to the apartment and went to bed and slept there until the following day. He said he did not participate in the attack of any black males. While he was in jail, Gerson said he talked with Nancy, but he did not write any letter referencing anything. Nancy also corroborated Gerson's testimony. Marco, who was 15 years old at the time of the incident, was acquainted with Benjamin and Gilbert. Marco testified and was granted immunity. He said he was present at the stabbing scene. He also said he ran away with the group towards Hoffman. An audio tape of this interview with the police was played for the jury. He said he was afraid of testifying against the Longos because he feared retribution. A lot of testimony in this case was conflicting, with the Longo side saying the young boys were from Insane Crip and started the incident, which many would say this was false, including several eyewitnesses who said the Longos were their aggressor, and even some members of the Longo side telling police they started it. As the trial ended, the court sentenced Gilbert and Garrison to 25 years to life, and Benjamin, he was sentenced to 50 years to life. This case happened in 2006, but the Longos' beef with black people and black gangs in general still continue, and vice versa. This war left many dead, unfortunately. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.